People hear one match a month and then they panic. Wait, one? Just one? That's it? Yeah, one. And then they do the math. 12 dates a year? 12 chances? Just 12 people standing between them and dying alone, surrounded by cats who will eventually eat their Except that's not how this works. Not at all. My clients don't date once a month. They date every week, sometimes more. The matchmaking date is just one date a month. The rest, well, that's on them. That's the whole point. Today I'm explaining why one match a month isn't sad or slow, whether you're hiring a matchmaker or about to become your own matchmaker, and why dating regularly is the only thing. Today I'm explaining why one match a month isn't sad or slow, whether you're hiring a matchmaker or about to become your own, why dating regularly is the only thing that actually moves the needle, and why waiting around for somebody else to do all the work is exactly how people stay single for years upon years while their friends lap them twice, sending out wedding invitations. This is what I teach to my matchmaking clients and students, because whether you hire help or do it yourself, the principle is the same. Nobody can date for you. So if that sounds at all interesting, I hope you'll stick around, because that's what's on the agenda.
Here's some real advice for your dating life. Coffee with Carey. Coffee with Carey.
Here's the fantasy. You hire a matchmaker, or you decide to be your own matchmaker, and suddenly you're going on dates every week with perfect people who check all your boxes like there's some magical warehouse full of emotionally available humans just waiting in climate-controlled storage until you're ready to meet them. That's not real. Here's what's real. A matchmaker can realistically deliver one solid match per month, sometimes two, depending on what you've agreed upon and where you live. And that's it. Not because it's so romantic or special or because the universe needs time to align, but because it's work, real work. I have to talk to people, a lot of them, interview them, vet them, figure out their values, their interests, what they're actually looking for versus what they say they're looking for when they're trying to sound evolved, and then match that up with somebody else who might actually be compatible. Takes time. You're out there meeting people, asking the right questions, figuring out who's actually viable and who's just wasting your time talking about their cryptocurrency portfolio like you asked. One good match a month is realistic. More if you're really putting in the work. But if you're sitting around waiting for that one match to be your entire dating life, you're going to be single long enough to at least to see fashions come back around twice. Somebody hires me and we have this conversation, all right, and I explain one curated match per month, somebody who's intentional, somebody who actually meets your standards, and then they look at me like I just told them they're getting one meal a month, and the rest of the time they have to hunt squirrels in the park. One? Just one? Yes, one. But here's the good thing. One good match a month is 12 dates a year with people who are actually viable, who meet your standards, who aren't secretly married or using photos from when flip phones were still a thing. Why on very random occasions, like doing a second rinse in the shower or, pan-searing tofu, do I suddenly remember the mnemonic device I was taught in 1971? Roy G. Biv. That guy just pops into my head out of nowhere. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. The prism in order. I didn't mean to memorize it forever. I just never forget. So here we are. A mnemonic device is just a shortcut to help you remember things. BYOM, that's not a mnemonic device. But those 4 letters might just trigger you to remember everything you learned in my masterclass, all the specific steps that lead you to fantastic dates, to people who invite you to be yourself and to finding your person. In the same way I see a rainbow and I think, Roy G. Biv. When you see a potential match, maybe you could think BYOM and allow that to remind you that you're no longer just winging it. You have a framework to guide you through every move. Engage with this person, get to know them, find out if they're the one. The link to my class is in the description box below. And now we can get back to the episode. Or currently on break with somebody who they live with. Most people don't go on 12 good dates in 2 years. They go on 50 terrible ones with people who showed up 20 minutes late, talked about their ex the entire time, ordered the most expensive thing on the menu, and then suggested, why don't you pick up the tab this time? And then ghosted. 12 curated dates beats 50 disaster dates every single time. But only if you're not treating those 12 like they're your only shots at happiness before you die alone and your neighbor finds you 3 days later because of the smell. People think one match a month means they're only dating once a month, like their entire romantic future is now on autopilot. Like they can just lean back, feet up, bag of chips, waiting for someone to deliver their soulmate like it's DoorDash, but with better packaging and a background check, hopefully. No, not the deal also. The one match a month is the curated introduction. The person who took actual work to find, work you either paid for or learned to do yourself, but you're still supposed to be dating, meeting people, going on dates, swiping if you want, saying yes when your friend says, I know somebody who might be perfect for you. Even though the last 3 times she said that, you ended up on dates with men who collected things that, they shouldn't be collected. Because if you're sitting around waiting for one perfect match every 30 days to save you from yourself, well, then you're not dating. You're just waiting. Like somebody standing at a bus stop in a town where the bus comes once a month and half the time it doesn't even stop. It just slows down and the bus driver gives you a sympathetic look, a slight wave, and just keeps going. Here's how it actually works. That one match per month, that's the person who's already been vetted, already been interviewed. I've already asked all those basic questions about their values and their interests and what they're looking for and whether they're actually emotionally available or just pretending, because their therapist told them they should work on that. That's what you're paying for. Or that's the work you're learning to do yourself in my masterclass. The upfront screening so you don't have to spend 3 dates figuring out if this person even wants the same things you want, or if they're just seeing what's out there while they figure out their life. These aren't special magical unicorns I found in some secret database where emotionally healthy people hide. They're just regular people. Same people you could probably find on the apps if you had the patience to wade through 47 photos of men holding a fish like it's a personality trait. The difference is I already did the interview. I already know their deal. You don't have to waste your time figuring out basics. But the weekly dates you're going on with people you're meeting other ways, apps, friends, events, that person who smiled at you in the produce section while you were both reaching for the same beautifully ripe tomato. That's the engine. That's what keeps you sharp. That's what keeps you from treating every single matchmaking date like it's the final rose ceremony. And if this doesn't work out, you're, moving to a cabin in Montana with no Wi-Fi. You need both, the vetted match and the regular practice. One without the other doesn't really work as well. It's like trying to drive a car with gas, but no steering wheel, or a steering wheel, but no gas. Neither one gets you anywhere great. Dating is a skill. Like any skill, you get better with practice, worse without it. If you only go on 1 date a month, every single date feels like you're performing brain surgery with an audience of people who are all recording you on their cell phones. You're sweating, you're nervous, you're overthinking everything. You don't want to sit down across from somebody and immediately start running that crazy internal commentary that you have. Did I order too fast? Should I have gotten wine? Or does that look like I have a drinking problem? Am I talking too much about my job or not enough about my job? Ooh, is my face doing that thing where I look interested, or the thing where I look like I'm trying to solve a math problem while also trying to remember if I left the oven on at home? The date ends, you leave, and you spend the next 48 hours replaying every single sentence like it's footage from a crime scene. Ooh, did they have a good time? Was I too much or not enough? Should I text them? Should I wait for them to text me? What if they never text me? But if you're dating weekly, you can stop performing. You can relax a little bit and get comfortable. You get better at reading people, better at conversation, better at knowing when something's working and when it's not. When you meet someone good, whether it's, through your curated match or someone you found on your own, you're ready. You're not a nervous wreck hoping they don't notice that you're spiraling. You're just a person who's been showing up and knows what they're looking for. This is what I teach clients, and it's the same if you're your own matchmaker. You have to show up. You have to date regularly. You have to put yourself out there, even when you'd rather stay home and watch true crime documentaries while eating cheese directly from the package. Whether you hire somebody to help you or you learn to do it yourself, the principle is exactly the same. Nobody can date for you. The work is yours. But here's the thing. When you've actually learned how to do this, you control the volume. You're not waiting for somebody else to deliver one match per month and hoping they get it right. You're out there meeting people. You're asking the right questions up front. You're figuring out who's viable and who's not. And the more people you talk to, the more potential matches you create for yourself. It's not magic, it's math. It works. And if you're willing to do that work, you're going to find somebody a lot faster than if you're sitting around waiting for somebody else to do it for you while you refresh email like it owes you money. And here's what happens when you only date once a month. You meet someone. The date goes, fine, maybe even good. Not fireworks and violins or somebody running through an airport trying to stop you from getting on your jet plane, but, promising, you're interested. They seem interested and you exchange numbers. You text a little bit. It's all very, very pleasant and you're cautiously optimistic. In that way, that means you're already mentally planning what you're going to wear to their family Christmas, even though it's March now. And then you wait for them to text, for them to suggest a second date maybe, for any sign that this is actually going somewhere and you're not just talking to somebody who's keeping you on the back burner while they wait and see if something better is going to come along. And while you're waiting, you're not dating anybody else because you're seeing where this goes. Because it feels weird to go on other dates when you're texting someone. So you wait a week, 2 weeks, 3. The whole time you're checking your phone every 11 minutes and analyzing their texts like they're ancient scrolls that need decoding. Wondering if the fact that they used a period instead of an exclamation point means that they're losing interest in you. Or if you're just completely insane and should, just get a lot more sleep. Your friends ask how it's going and you say, good, I think. But you don't know. You don't actually know because nothing's happened. You're just floating in this weird limbo where you're, talking to someone sort of, but not really dating them. And you can't tell if you're being patient or if you're being an idiot. And then either it just fizzles out and you recognize that or, because they stop responding altogether or they message you and say, hey, I just don't think we're a match. Or they, vanish like they got raptured and you're the only one left behind. Or, it does move forward and you finally go on date number 2. Either way, you just spent an entire month on one person. One. And if it doesn't work out, now you're back to square one, waiting for another match, starting over completely. Another month of hoping and waiting and wondering if maybe you should just get more cats and call it a life. That is the slowest possible way to date. It's like trying to get in shape by doing one sit-up per month and then wondering why you still can't see your abs and your back hurts a little bit. But if you're dating regularly, meeting new people every week, going on first dates and second dates and actually building momentum instead of just, sitting around hoping one person doesn't disappoint you, then that one person is just one of several that you're talking to. Not the only one, not the person your entire emotional future hinges on for the next 30 days. And that changes everything because now you're not waiting. You're not overthinking. You're not sitting by your phone like it's a shrine that requires daily offerings and a constant vigilance. You're just dating like a normal person with options, with perspective, with the emotional bandwidth to actually see if this person is a fit instead of desperately needing them to be because you haven't talked to anybody else in 6 weeks and you're starting to forget what adult conversation feels like. You're not hoping one person is the answer to all your problems and also the reason you finally clean out your closet and start going to yoga again. You're actively creating opportunities and you're showing up. You're putting yourself out there. And eventually, one of those dates is going to turn into something real, something that actually works. But only if you're giving yourself more than one chance every 30 days. Here's the excuse I hear most often. Oh, I don't really have time to date every week. And here's the excuse I hear most often. Oh, yeah, I don't have time to date every week. Okay, so you don't have 2 hours a week to meet someone for a walk with a cup of coffee or a glass of wine? I mean, because that's what we're talking about here, 2 hours. Maybe 3 if it's going really well and you end up, staying for another round or ordering food because, you're actually enjoying yourself. You have time. You're just not prioritizing it. And I get it. You're busy. You have a demanding job. You travel maybe for work. You have aging parents perhaps who need help. You have friends you never even see. You have a full life. Dating feels like one more thing on a list that's already longer than a CVS receipt. But here's the thing. You don't wait until you have time to date. You make time. The same way you make time for the gym even though you're tired. Or the dentist, even though they make you bleed every time you show up. Or your book club, even though you didn't finish the book again and you're just going to have to nod along and hope nobody asks you a direct question. Because if you wait until dating feels convenient, you'll be waiting forever. Life doesn't get less busy. Work doesn't typically calm down. Your schedule doesn't magically open up most of the time. There's never going to be a perfect moment where you have tons of free time and emotional energy and nothing else competing for your attention. And also, you're well rested and your hair looks fantastic. And in the meantime, you're still single, right? Still frustrated and wondering why everybody else seems to be finding love. So that's why my clients get one date a month, but date pretty much every week. Because one curated introduction is very valuable. It's the interview you didn't have to sit through yourself. It's somebody who's already been vetted, so you don't have to waste 3 dates asking basic questions about whether they want kids or they believe in climate change or think pineapple belongs on top of a pizza, which honestly might be the real deal breaker that nobody talks about. But whether you hire someone or you're doing it yourself, learning how to do that vetting, asking those questions, being your own matchmaker, one match isn't enough on its own. You still have to show up for yourself. You still have to put yourself out there, and you still have to treat dating like something that matters instead of something that you'll get to eventually when everything else, is peachy keen in your life. If you do that, if you actually commit to dating regularly instead of waiting around and hoping, you'll meet someone, probably faster than you think. Because the more people you meet, the more chances you create, and the more likely you are to meet somebody fantastic. It's not magic or fate or the universe rewarding you for your patience. It's just math. Volume and effort and showing up even when you don't feel like it. And if you're willing to do the work, one of those dates turns into something real, something that actually works. But only if you're giving yourself more than 12 shots a year. Only if you're treating this like it matters. Only if you're willing to actually show up week after week after week until something clicks. That's how this works. That's how it's always worked. The only question is whether you're willing to actually do it or if you're just going to keep waiting while you sit on your sofa eating crackers and wondering why nothing's happening. All right. I hope you found that interesting or helpful. If you did, you might want to check out this episode. Hey, before you go, could you please give my little mama here the thumbs up she's asking for? She asked me last week if the internet knows that I have a masterclass now. She explained that I need to send out a formal press release with her listed as my publicist, and also can she be in the photos? Appreciate you being here. I'll look forward to next time, and until then, have a good one.